Hey YouTube, this is Lester Crow and his Strolling Bones. Gonna do another role-playing game video here for you. This is more so a question to the community. I'm gonna do kind of a report on a session that I ran over the weekend, and I just want to kind of get your guys' feedback on it. Let me know if you've experienced similar problems, and maybe ways around these things. I've been doing this for years, and I mean, I'm pretty much aware of all the problems already, but I'm interested in knowing what you guys have to say and any solutions that you may have for me. I realize there's probably lots of videos on YouTube right now that address these concerns, but seeing some kind of new to making the videos, especially in this vein, the RPG vein, I'm gonna attempt this here. So over the weekend, I had a birthday celebration. My birthday was on the 22nd of February. However, we couldn't all get together until the end of the month to play, and up to that point, it seemed like everybody was really keen to play. They all were gung ho and pretty excited. We were talking about it before that. Our group tends to play a lot of Magic the Gathering. They play Yu-Gi-Oh! While I prepare games because I can't stand Yu-Gi-Oh! But I mean, it's just a terrible ripoff of Magic the Gathering, in my opinion. Just a really bad excuse for a game. But that's my beef. Nothing against anybody who likes Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody, my girlfriend's a big fan. My whole gaming group are fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've managed to get them into Magic, the actual grandfather of the collectible card game, and that's been sticking well, which I'm happy about. But this is a tangent. This is besides the point. So over the weekend, I was going to run. It was going to be a multiple day affair. However, it only turned out to be a 5-hour session. Now, there's a reason behind this. Building up to the adventure, everybody came over. I was doing my last little bit of prep work to make sure that the adventure was ready to go. We had everything. We had snacks, we had dinner ready, we had everything ready to go so that everybody could eat, get the jitters out, talk about their day, and then go forward with playing the game and becoming involved in the game. The biggest problem I found was the way we had it set up. I don't have a large table, so I set it up in this fashion. We have a large TV. It's in the corner of one of the rooms. And then we have a fireplace that runs along the south wall. And then we have our west wall and our north wall, which have windows over them. And then the eastern side would be open. It opens up into the rest of the house. So the couches are set up along the western wall and the northern wall. And everybody was sitting in couches. They had their tables in front of them with all of their bits put out in front of them there. This is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the 3rd edition that we're playing. So it does involve quite a bit of space. A table would have helped me a lot, but I felt immediately disjointed from the group. Although I had the nice big TV that allowed me to display all my pictures, play sound effects, show them Gitzman's map and everything, so they had an idea of where they were in the world and what they were doing. And I proceeded to tell a pretty good story. I've had a kink in my neck for about 4 or 5 days, so I was a little bit under the weather, maybe a little bit groggy, which maybe showed up, and that could have led to what had happened. But I have a feeling it's more so the green substance, which I call coral, that was being imbibed, that really ended up ruining the session in total. I'm a 100% supporter of coral. However, I think it's bullshit that the old trivs still have it illegal. But anyway, that's an issue for another time. But I feel that my group tends to abuse the substance from time to time. So by the end of the session, everybody's burning out and nobody's paying any attention. So I present the adventure. We're running eye for an eye. I'm just trying to introduce them to the game, give them an idea how to play. And I've already gone through during character creation and told every person the very base core mechanic of the game, which is you have 6 characteristics. Those 6 characteristics, 3 of each of those characteristics represent your physical stats. 3 of them represent your mental stats. Very simple. I explained to them the correlation between each of the stats, like strength and intelligence are twins, essentially, just in different categories. toughness and willpower, and fellowship and agility, yada, yada, yada. So we're playing, and it seems to work quite well. All of these people, except for one, is new to role playing. The one who's not new to role playing, he played a really good game. He enjoyed it, but he had to leave early, so we took a break after he left. It seemed to me though that everybody got bogged down because I tend to like to present an open-ended world. I mean, yes, I've prepared an adventure, and I would like you guys to go on that adventure, but I've seeded the whole world around you with ways for you to be pointed back in the direction of the actual adventure that has been not developed by me, but has been prepared by me for the gaming group. So they show up at the Red Moon Inn. My girlfriend's playing an initiative Shalia in this particular instance. So she uses her skills as a human. Everybody else is a non-human, which I played up pretty well. I presented a lot of racism and weird looks, which I'm used to because I'm 7 feet tall. So I'm very used to people staring at me and becoming the center of attention whenever I enter a building. So I can present that to them very well, what it feels like. And so all the other races were getting kind of weird eyes on them. And I described the room in keen detail, and everybody should know what they're going to do or should have an idea of what they want their character to do. Party composition is this: Dwarf Ironbreaker, Elven Swordmaster of Hoeth. We've got a Wood Elf Thief, but she's a little more cosmopolitan than the rest. She's lived in the girl is very new, but the girl who's playing her is very new to role playing. However, she's already excellent. I'm very, very impressed with the way she plays. And she decided that her character was going to be a little bit more cosmopolitan. Like, they had left the forest well before, several years before, so they're used to living in the cities and stuff like that. So she was there, and then we have an initiative Shalia, and then we have a High Elf Hunter. He was the guy who had to leave early. He's the player who had to leave around about the 3-hour mark. He played for about 3 hours. However, because I had left such a wide open option for everybody, I just let them basically explore the world and do what they want. I introduced Vern Hendricks. I did everything I needed to do to get them keyed to it. But because everything that happened took them into an afternoon setting, I said, okay, well, we'll have Vern Hendricks leave in the morning. That way they have a chance to explore the town and get a feel for their abilities. However, even though I explained to them what all the basic characteristics are and what the basis of the game is, you take your characteristic. Obviously, if you're trying something that requires a feat of strength, you're going to use your strength stat. If you're trying to charm people, you're going to use your fellowship stat. Very simple, very intuitive, very straight ahead, very forward, simple, not very difficult at all. And I already explained this to them. Yet I found, because they're all stoned, reason number two, I don't believe that half of them actually even want to play. I think they're just doing it for my for the sake of me, I guess, because it's my birthday, so they're trying to be nice to me. I don't like that. I don't want players like that. I couldn't give a shit about players who don't want to play, because they're not players. They're just distractions. So two of these guys who come in, and I'm sure they don't want to play. I'm positive. One of them is the guy I tell you about who's just very disrespectful. He doesn't listen to anything that's going on. We laid down ground rules stating that you couldn't talk out of character and interrupt me. You needed to pass notes. So we had notes, and that became a problem because then everybody was passing notes and nobody knew what was going on. But anyway, the Dwarf Ironbreaker and the Elven Swordmaster of Hoeth, in great character fashion, got into a drinking match. The one High Elf Swordmaster is a cop-out. He didn't want to have to make a history for his character because he just wants to do it to appease me, I guess. That's how I read into it. So instead of actually developing his character, he says, I just want amnesia. So I had to build a character background for him. I took his sword away from him for that. But anyway, that's beyond the point. Builds up. The group separates itself. Everybody starts getting it dragged on. No one knows what to do. I should have taken advantage of it. I should have taken the bull by the horns and just led them in the direction they needed to go. But I'm not like that. I put you in the world, and I will create the world around you. You do whatever you want. And they just bog it down by getting interested in unnecessary information. They could just say, we'll eat some stuff, and then we want to pass the rest of the day without event. And then I'd be like, okay, cool, you guys pass the rest of the day, no big deal. You go see the big Mitterfield Festival, you go to sleep, wake up in the morning, Vern Hendricks is waiting for you, let's go. But, I want them to tell me that they don't want to do anything. They make it seem like they still want to do stuff, so I continually present the world for them, as is my job as the narrator. And then it just became a gong show. Everybody was yawning, and no one was having a good time, and everyone was just disjointed from the world, and no one was into it, and it just sucked. I hated it. It was a terrible, 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 terrible experience for me. I don't want to run a game for them anymore, but that sucks to me because I really want to run games, but I don't want to run games for people who don't want to play. I already told you in a previous video what I expect out of players, and a lot of that wasn't delivered to me. And my girlfriend really wants to play. She plays really well. And my one friend who plays the Elven Hunter is also excellent at the role playing. The Dwarf and Ironbreaker, is one of the most Slavinist people I've ever met in my life. A wonderful person, but you can't play Warhammer Fantasy with this kid because the 3rd edition requires a lot of chit movements and things like that. So you kind of got to be organized, and he's not. He just throws all his stuff in one thing, and he can't keep it organized. So that ruined it too. That made it difficult. And I'm trying to explain this stuff to them, that they need to keep it organized and all this, and they're just not listening to me. So there's obviously a problem there. And I don't know what to do, because they all expressed to me that they liked it, that they had a good time, and that they want to continue playing. However, I don't want to play with people who obviously don't want to play, people who are not paying attention and just sitting there like, the whole time. It bothers me. It makes me want to say, get out and don't come back. It's a pain in the ass to prepare stuff for people and then them not engage themselves in it. It's not my cup of tea when it comes to role-playing. Anyway, this video is getting pretty long, and I'm just going to go on to even more of a rant. So if you guys have any suggestions, if I haven't been clear enough, we can correspond further. I may make a follow-up video for this. This is just kind of in the heat of the moment. I've had a couple days to take a deep breath and get rid of the malaise. Anyway, I want to get over that. We were supposed to play for 2 days. It only happened for one. It only happened for part of the one day. We were supposed to play all day long, but nobody wants to play, and that's really frustrating to me. Anyway, this has been Lester Crone Strolling Bones on another one of my stupid rants. You'll probably see lots of these as I continue to produce more videos for this channel. Yeah, any advice would be awesome. Any similar instances, I'd love to hear about how you handled it. Thanks a lot, RPG community, and let's keep gaming.